Nitaya ki jai, Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Devi ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna, liebe Gäste, liebe Devotees, ein großes Willkommen zu unserem Krishna-Tempel Zürich, an unserem Sonntagsfest. Hare Krishna, dear guests, dear friends and devotees, a warm welcome to our Sunday program here in our Krishna Temple in Zurich. So now our program, Sunday program, is as follows. We will now have a talk till 5 o'clock. At 5 o'clock there will be a vegetarian feast. 6:15 there will be a guided mantra meditation, 7 o'clock a temple ceremony, and from 8 o'clock onwards there will be more singing of mantra, singing of kirtan. And for our Sunday talk, we are very happy here to invite His Grace Gaura Hari Prabhu. Please welcome him with a big Hari Bol. I think if you remember, maybe in the beginning of the year, Prabhu was visiting with his wife and was giving a talk on the Bhagavad Gita, and we are happy that he has come back. He was born here in Switzerland and also joined the Krishna consciousness movement here in this temple in 2002. And just recently after that, he got the opportunity to travel and serve his spiritual master, His Holiness Sachinandana Maharaj, and was traveling with him and serving him in this way. And later in 2012, he became the temple president in the temple Gologodam, a temple in Germany. And since 2020, he is now traveling and sharing Krishna consciousness with others and helping them and mentoring them to progress in their spiritual life. And today he is going to speak on the topic of developing a spiritual vision. So we are very happy that Prabhu is here. And I wish you a very warm, nice Sunday. Just two things. Maybe you can all come a little closer. And the second one, translation. Braucht jemand eine deutsche Übersetzung? And I wish you a very happy Sunday. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, and if I could ask you again to please come a little bit closer. We might have some guests coming later and will have difficulty to find place in the back and might feel ashamed to come and sit right in the front. Could I ask you maybe just to have a Bhagavad Gita in English? So I will just offer a few prayers. Super, already there. Thank you. So today we will have a verse. The topic will be developing a spiritual vision, and we will read a verse from Bhagavad Gita. It's actually a very well-known verse from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 5, verse 18. So if you want, you can try to recite together with me the Sanskrit. Vidya Vinaya Sampane Brahmane Gavi Hastini Shuni Chaiva Svapakecha Pandita Samadashina. One more time. Vidya Vinaya Sampane Brahmane Gavi Hastini Shuni Chaiva Svapakecha Pandita Samadashina. So the translation is as follows. The humble sages, by virtue of true knowledge, sees with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog-eater. To have a small purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. A Krishna conscious person does not make any distinction between species or castes. The Brahmanas and the outcast may be different from social point of view, or a dog, a cow, and an elephant may be different from the point of view of species. But those differences of body are meaningless from the viewpoint of a learned transcendentalist. This is due to their relationship to the Supreme, for the Supreme Lord, by his plenary portions as Paramatma, is present in everyone's heart. Such an understanding of the Supreme is real knowledge. As far as the bodies are concerned, in different castes or different species of life, the Lord is equally kind to everyone because he treats every living being as a friend, yet maintains himself as Paramatma, regardless of the circumstances of the living entities. The Lord as Paramatma is present both in the outcast and in the Brahmana, although the body of a Brahmana and that of an outcast are not the same. The bodies are material production of different modes of material nature, but the soul and the supersoul within the body are of the same spiritual quality. The similarity in the quality of the soul and the supersoul, however, does not make them equal in quantity, for the individual soul is present only in that particular body, whereas the Paramatma, or God in the heart, is present in each and every body. I hope you can manage. Sometimes it's not easy to follow a philosophical text, but Prabhupada explained here that we are present in the body as the soul, and inside every body there is also God present inside, like our best friend. So we are aware of our body, but I do not know if any one of you might have an itching somewhere in his body. I can just be aware of my body. But the Lord, being present in the heart of everyone, is aware of everybody at the same time. And that's the point that is mentioned. The similar characteristic of the soul and supersoul, or Krishna in the heart, are that they are both conscious, eternal and blissful. But the difference is that the individual soul, or ourself, is conscious within the limited jurisdiction of the body, whereas the supersoul is conscious of all bodies. The supersoul is present in all bodies without distinctions. So I will just offer a few prayers to ask for blessings, and then we will dive deeper into the topic. Those of you who know the prayer, you can join me. Om Gyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So today we can extract the principle from this verse, and the principle is that by becoming a humble sage, one can see Krishna in the heart of all living entities. And the aim of this lecture is that we become convinced of the importance of changing our vision to become happy and fulfill human beings. Because the way we see the world is actually something very important. Thank you so much. We can actually defined the happiness and the distress that we experience in this world by the way we are actually looking at this world. My spiritual master once said that the world is not the way you see it, but is the way you are. Huh? Sometimes nice things are happening, but we might not feel happy about that. And sometimes difficult things are happening, and they are actually there for our own spiritual development. So according to the vision we will have, that will define actually how much happiness we can experience in this world, and how much we can become happy and fulfilled human beings. So we will see 3 topics today. That what does the spiritual vision mean? The benefits of transforming our vision, and 3, how to develop a spiritual vision. So, what is the meaning of spiritual vision? Who would like to have a guess? I will not spoon feed you everything. I will ask you also sometimes some question. But someone was answer. You had an answer?
Motse.
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 Motse?
Motse, yeah.
What means motse? Okay.
In Sanskrit it's motse.
Okay. Okay. Yes?
Way to the God. Way to the God.
Way to the God. So spiritual vision means the way to God. Okay. Okay. Good. Good. Thank you. Someone?
When we see everything connected with God.
Okay. Okay.
This is spiritual vision.
Okay. Very good.
When we're graced with something that is usually different from our daily thoughts, that's like a light out, showing love in everything, and inspiring to calling to speak of the Lord.
Okay. Okay. Wow. I have an amazing audience. You are all very learned and very much in tune with what spiritual vision is. It's actually quite right what you say. I will show you different way of seeing a spiritual vision, and I want also to give some credit to the School of Bhakti, which from the School of Bhakti, few of those slides are taken. I think here in Zurich you have also some course like Bhakti Life or Bhakti Life, Gita Life. Those courses are taught by the School of Bhakti. And here, can you see? Yes? So, here we have a T-I-M-A. Matter of time that we will see different. But it can also represent T for temple deity. Like you can have a spiritual vision by seeing actually the form of the Lord. And you have the I, that you can see God in individual people. And sometimes God can speak to you through individual people. You can see God in material nature, and you can see God in the events of life. So those are different ways you can actually have spiritual vision and see God in your life. But today we will focus on seeing God in the heart of all living entities. Oops. Yeah. Maybe Mataji, you are good in reading in English, huh? Maybe I could ask. Yeah, maybe you can, whenever, now we will have a quote from Srila Prabhupada, whenever we have quote, if you can read it, yeah? Even we can get the microphone.
In Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 31, Text 2, the purport, Srila Prabhupada states, when one actually becomes spiritually advanced, he does not see the difference between one living entity and another. This platform is attained by determination. When perfect knowledge is expanded, one ceases to see the outward covering of the living entity. He sees rather the spirit soul within the body.
And that's we were finding already today in the purport, what we were reading. Srila Prabhupada was saying that those differences of body are meaningless from the viewpoint of a learned transcendentalist. That means one who developed this spiritual vision, he will not see the different bodies, how people look, and judge them according to how they look, but he will see their essence. He will see actually that they are souls, that they are part of God. Still, one needs to also make some difference. Like sometimes the example is that even if you see a tiger, you might see that God is also in the tiger, but you will not go and embrace the tiger. You still keep your distance. So there are still some distinctions that are there, for example, between a student and a professor. There is like definitely a difference. But the point is that very often in life we just see the difference, but we forget to see actually what is uniting everyone, or what is actually the essential similarity that all the living entities have. And this is the presence of God inside of the heart of everyone. Like for example, a woman might see her lover, but she don't care if her lover is dressed in blue jeans or in dhoti or in whatever, because she loves him. She don't care so much about the outer clothes. So in the same way, the one who developed this transcendental vision, he will not be so much judging or thinking from the external covering, but he will more be connected to the inner principle or the soul inside of the body. With spiritual vision, we will see the essence, not the covering, not the external. So that was for the first part of what means spiritual vision, and we focus on God being in the heart. And now we will see the benefits of transforming our vision. And here we have also a very nice quote coming. I found it. This is in a text that is called the Srimad Bhagavata. This is a very elaborate text. We have Bhagavad Gita, from where we read, that is like the beginning, and then after that you have Srimad Bhagavatam, which is much more elaborate description of God and his associates, his devotees. And there is the story of Rishabdev. And Rishabdev was actually the Supreme Lord himself, who appeared in this world some other times, and he was instructing his sons. So he had, like, there are few chapters of description of the instruction of Rishabdev to his sons. And when he comes to the end of his instruction, he gives like the one we will quote now. And often the end of the instruction are like, have like a stronger impact, are said to be like the one to not miss out. So, and this will connect to developing respect toward all living entities by seeing God in the heart of all living entities.
My dear sons, you should not envy any living entity, be he moving or non-moving. Knowing that I am situated in them, you should offer respect to all of them at every moment. In this way, you offer respect to me.
So this is a very beautiful benefit, that when we will develop this spiritual vision, we will be able to feel respect for all living entities, because we naturally can feel respect toward God. So when we see God in the heart of all living entities, we can actually have this feeling of respect, which is such an important virtue that can save us from so many problems, when we can have this feeling of respect toward other living entities. In Latin, the word respect is, the root is respectare, which means to look again at someone. So you might look at someone and might pass some judgment according to the external covering of the person, but you can also look again and see, it's not only the external, but this person is actually a child of God. This person is actually a part of God, and very precious and very beautiful in its essence. So Maharaj Rishabdev here, he stressed this principle because he said, then when you have this vision, you will be able to feel respect toward everyone. And it's very interesting that in the same book, Srimad Bhagavatam, there is another set of instruction coming between Krishna and Uddhava. This is in the 11th canto, and Krishna ends his instruction with a very similar quote. So this is Sri Krishna's final instruction to Uddhava.
O brilliant Uddhava, one who thus views all living entities with the idea that I am present within each of them, and who, by taking shelter of this divine knowledge, offers due respect to everyone, is considered actually wise. Such a man sees equally the Brahmana and the outcast, the thief and the charitable promoter of Brahmanical culture, the sun and the tiny sparks of fire, the gentle and the cruel.
It's very interesting how in the scripture you can see sometimes repetition that come in very particular times that we can actually have that have a more powerful meaning that can impact on our life. So here we are always in the same point. It will help us to develop respect for all living entities. That was one of the advantages of developing this spiritual vision. And another result is that all bad tendencies will be destroyed. And that's Krishna speaks to Uddhava just a few verses after the one we had now. And he tells him,
For him who constantly meditates upon my presence within all persons, the bad tendencies of rivalry, envy, and abusiveness, along with false ego, are very quickly destroyed.
So I think it should be enthusing us. When we read that, I think we would like to be free actually from those bad tendencies of rivalry, envy, abusiveness, false ego. And here Lord Krishna says, if you develop this vision, if you meditate in that way, those bad qualities will be removed. So as a summary, benefits of transforming our vision, developing respect toward all living entities, bad tendencies are destroyed, and in plus we will avoid so many difficulties based on bodily designation. If you see in the world, most of the war that are happening are also because they see this is a different race, or we want to have this place or that place, this territory. We can see so many times fight or quarrel happen because we actually judge people, because we would like people to be the way we are, and we have difficulty to accept that people act in a different way or think in a different way. But when we can connect to the equality of all living entities, then actually we can be much more relieved from these difficulties. And this spiritual vision is something that we can also practice. This is something we will come a little bit later, but it's something we have to practice. It's something that we can develop during the day, even in our job, in whatever we do. Actually, we can try to develop this practice of seeing the soul in the heart of all living entities. There was one person, his name was Duryodhana. That's happened in the war of Kurukshetra, where the Bhagavad Gita was spoken, and actually Dhritarashtra was. Who of you do not know the story? Every one of you knows the story of Dhritarashtra, and not really. This was actually before the Bhagavad Gita was spoken. There was two camps that were ready to fight with each other. And there were two sets of brothers. There was the 5 Pandavas, and there were many other Kauravas. And the Pandavas were actually to receive the throne, to receive the kingdom, but because their father was dead, the father of the other son thought my sons should actually get the throne. And he actually made a lot of abusive evil deeds to the 5 Pandavas who were supposed actually to get the kingdom. And there, that's an example. He was not able to give justice because he had attachment to his own sons, and he wanted his own sons. So he could not see the equality of all living entities, but he was partial to his own sons. And we see also all what we find in connection to racism and things like this. It's all actually those difficulties coming through the judgment of the external shelf. And I think it's something very often happening to us, that we pass judgment on people. We see people and we immediately say, oh yeah, this one should be like this one should be like that. And all this is actually so wrong, because we are not able to actually see the essence and the beauty of all living entities. Therefore, even if we see the killing of animals, if you can see that inside of any animal there is a soul, how could you imagine to kill them just to satisfy your own pleasure of eating their bodies? So this vision will actually help us to avoid so many difficulties that are based on material designation. Okay. And the last result, actually, I was not so structured here, but there is one more, that it will make an end to quarrel and judgmental views, friend and enemy vision. I think that's also sometimes very frequently happening, that we see people around us as friends or enemies. Those who are helping us, they are our friends. Those who don't help us fulfill our desires, they are in the category of enemy. And we often tend to put people in those different categories. So that will also help in this case. And the last one is that we will feel love for all living entities. When we can see their equality, then we will be able to have a much more loving attitude toward the people that we see. And that's a very, very beautiful experience. Okay, I think I even have one more. We will feel blissful because Krishna will be happy. Because when we see him and we think of him, then we naturally feel blissful inside of the heart. So now we come to the last point of today's presentation, how to develop this spiritual vision. Who would like to have a guess how to develop a spiritual vision?
Well, out of personal experience, I'd like to share that forgiveness, humility, and then maturing to unconditional is a good start.
Okay, okay. Anyone else? Thomas Loka Prabhu, what would you suggest to the audience to develop a spiritual vision?
Chanting Maha mantra.
Okay, chanting Maha. Okay.
Reading
Spiritual practice. Okay, okay.
Srimad Bhagavatam. And their Sangha
Okay,
as well. And maybe also chanting daily the Maitri mantra.
okay,
To free everyone and yourself from suffering, and wish all living entities all the best.
okay. Good, good. I have another answer about how to develop a spiritual vision, and this one is a little bit, how you say, shocking, but I think it's still okay. Become a humble sage. And that's what the verse actually of Bhagavad Gita says. It said the humble sage is able actually to see all living entities. But it might be discouraging at the same time. So, okay, become a humble sage. That's not for tomorrow. It might take a little bit longer. But I want to show you the journey of spiritual life, which explain that actually it's something gradual to develop this spiritual vision. We have actually three Sanskrit terms. One is Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojana. I explain very shortly. The Sambandha is the knowledge of matter and spirit. Abhideya is the relationship between matter and spirit, or between the living entities and God. And prayojana is the end result of love of God. Like, for example, if you want to transform those three in scientific language, sambandha is the hypothesis, the abhideya is the experiment, and the prayojana is the result. Or if you want to understand that, and you are a good cook, you can understand that with a cooking book. Like the sambandha is the ingredients that you need to have for the recipe. The abhideya is first heat up the pan with the butter and then put this inside and then this, the explanation how to do. And the prayojana is actually the end result after your cooking. So in all the Vedic scriptures you will have those three elements: the knowledge, how to interact with that, how do we do in the relationship, and what will be the end result. So in that, so that's more or less the summary. Sambandha, the knowledge of the relationship; abhideya, how you act in relationship; and prayojana, the perfectional stage. And now, in connection to spiritual vision, the sambandha, or the beginning, is seeing God philosophically. And then abhideya is to see God practically in our life. And then the prayojana, or the end, we see God spontaneously. So this is to become a humble sage. The humble sage, he don't need to make any effort. It should just be totally natural for him to see God in the heart of all living entities. But for us who are maybe not yet humble sage, maybe we have few in our audience, we will need actually to first see God philosophically by understanding that He is present in the heart of all living entity, and then to see God more practically in His interaction in our life. So now we see a little bit what we can do, what effort can we do from our side. And here we have another beautiful quote. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th Canto, 7th chapter, verse 6 purport.
Srimad Veera Raghava Acharya has explained the concept of equal vision as follows: Samadrik sarvasya brahmat makat vanus sandhana rupa samada drishtiman man. One who is on the path of self-realization should always endeavor to see the ultimate spiritual nature of all existence. One should fix one's mind on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the source of everything. Thus, as one passes one's life on the earth, using up one's allotted time, one should practice seeing all things and all people as part and parcel of the absolute truth, the personality of Godhead.
So here it's actually quite clear. We should practice, we should make some endeavor to go into this type of consciousness. And just before, we had to see God philosophically, and actually when we will read into the scriptures, that we will understand those concepts, then it will naturally come to see like this. And I want to share an experience I had in the beginning of my spiritual life. I learned the profession of painting house, and I was in high school for painting house, and during the break I used to read some small booklet, spiritual book, and I was once reading Life Comes from Life, a book from Srila Prabhupada, a discussion. And after this break I went back to the school room, and I had read about the presence of God in the heart of all living entities, and I went to the school and I could see all the students that they were all parts of God, and for maybe 10-20 minutes this understanding or this vision was there, and it was just such a beautiful experience. Just because I had read it, it was actually present in my heart, and I could see it, at least philosophically, that God is in the heart of all living entities. And this is something possible to practice. we have a teacher, his name is Adipurusha Prabhu, who used to travel a lot teaching Bhakti Shastri in the past. I guess he was also visiting Zurich temple from time to time. And he will give us, as he will teach, he will give us a workshop. And the workshop is that we know from the scripture that God is actually in the heart of the living entity. So the exercise was that we have now to look in everyone and see in the heart space that there is God residing in them. It's easy for me because I'm facing all of you, so I have a wonderful darshan of many gods in the hearts of all living entities. But now, please just look at each other and look in the heart space of the person and try to see a God inside of the heart. It's a little exercise. Please try to do it. I see some of you are resistant to do it, but it's fine, it's fine. But I see all of you who do it, there is one result, is you are smiling. You are feeling very happy, actually, to do that. So this is something that actually we can practice and try to do, just like this, remembering, actually, God is inside of the heart of all the living entities next to me. When we think of people as parts of God, we will help them. We will help them, because when we see them as part of God, we will not have prejudice. And so when we see them as part of God's, we will actually empower them. We will give them actually energy for them to grow and evolve nicely in their life. So we had how to develop this spiritual vision, become a sage. Okay, thank you, but give me something a little bit more practical or closer to me. So the next point was making some efforts. And now we have another point coming. Actually, in the making efforts is also connected to meditation and reflection. We might read into the scriptures that we are all similar, that we are all the same by nature, but then one will need to reflect about it and to meditate about it, to more or less imbibe more this understanding in a deeper way. And the next is to become a bhakti yogi. And here we have another quote. This is from Bhagavad Gita 6.29 purport.
A Krishna-conscious yogi is the perfect seer because he sees Krishna, the Supreme, situated in everyone's heart as Supersoul Paramatma. One who is not factually in the practice of yoga cannot see so clearly. So here Prabhupada make it quite clearly, actually, to develop this spiritual vision, we will need also purity of heart. And this will come with some spiritual practice. In our tradition, we have a lot about chanting the holy name, about hearing the holy name, what we did actually the last hour together, but also in studying Shastras, you were also giving some nice answer, association with devotees, so on and so forth. And for example, the chanting of the holy name has a very, very powerful effect in transforming our vision. I have two remembrances in my life. One time I was in India, and for a full month I was trying to chant the holy name in a very concentrated way. And at the end of this month I was trying to stay in a small room and try really to focus as much as I could. And at the end of this month, when I came out, I did the Govardhan Parikram. I was walking around the Govardhan hill, and everything was amazingly, surprisingly beautiful. Everything, the trees, the birds, everything I was seeing, the people were just so beautiful. Everything was just immersed in beauty. And I knew that before I was doing my spiritual practice, I did not have this vision. And that vision has been developed through this chanting of the holy name. And there was another experience. We had a japa retreat. Japa is the practice of chanting the holy name, but on beads.
like we have in many other traditions. And we had a retreat in Belgium about this chanting of japa. And I was supposed to be leading the devotees into some meditation in the chanting of the holy name. So usually when you teach, you really have to give yourself more than the student into what you do. And we had an altar like we have here, but it was a very big altar. And all the devotees who came to this retreat, they all brought their small deities that they have usually at home. They brought, so we had a big table with many forms of gods, and we were there chanting and chanting for hours and hours, and I was there with closed eyes, and I was really trying to chant very nicely the holy name. And after sometimes I opened my eyes and I could see all those forms. They were alive. I could see it was full of beauty and life. So sometimes we might see the deity and feel, yeah, nice, but yeah, just nice, just like this. But sometimes we might see the deities fully alive. And that is actually when this vision is given, and often it actually comes through the chanting of the holy name. I remember when I started my Krishna consciousness here in Zurich Temple, and I came once or twice in Sunday feast, and then I thought, okay, let's come maybe over the weekend, because I was living in the valleys and it was like 3 hours drive. So I thought, okay, I stay over the weekend. And then came some holidays. I thought, okay, let's stay for 1 week in the temple. And I was here in the temple. Well, that was such an amazing experience. I remember after 3 days, I felt like crying. Whenever I was seeing devotees, I felt like crying. And I asked the highest monk of the temple, what should I do? And he said, maybe the energy is a little bit too intense. Maybe one day, tomorrow you go out of the temple and you come back in the evening and take time going to the park or like this. So I said, okay. So I went to a friend's home and I called my father. And when I had my father on the phone, I just burst into a big crying. And my father was saying, what's happening to you? Are they not good with you? And I said, no, they are so nice. They are so it was like very purifying. But anyway, I think it was the last day I was here. And there was the temple ceremony, and we were dancing and singing the holy name. And suddenly I looked at Gaura Nitai, the two on the left, and they were looking at me. And there was no doubt. They were looking at me. And I was looking if something else is behind or around. But I had this total conviction that now I was watched. And it was, they had become alive. They were actually, I could get a glimpse into a different type of vision, seeing them actually alive and watching me. So this is something that is happening very often actually through the chanting of the holy name, but also when we hear about the Lord, or when we hear the holy name. So here, if you want to develop spiritual vision, you need good glasses. So hear well, see everywhere. And you can see that God is the source of all creation, and you can see that God is within the creation. And this is also like the power of the scriptures. When we read into the scripture and we hear from the scripture, we will much more easily develop this spiritual vision. Okay. So we'll summarize what we had today. The principle was that by becoming humble sage, one can see Krishna in the heart of all living entities. And the aim was to become convinced of the importance of changing our vision to become happy and fulfill human beings. That's, again, to remember ourselves that according to our vision, we will be able to be happy and fulfilled in our life. And if we can develop this vision of seeing everyone on the equal level, not judging people being different, but seeing that everyone is a child of God, everyone is a part of God, everyone is very valuable, then we will actually be able to be very happy and very fulfilled into our life. It might be sometimes, let's say, yes, I mean, it might sound a little bit theoretical, and I was trying to bring those type of exercise that we can do, trying to see God in the heart of all the people, and trying maybe to look into having some regular practice in our life to change this vision. But it is also something we can practice whenever difficulties come into our life, whenever we have maybe some relationship problem with some people, to actually at those times to try to see again, like we had this respect, definition of respect, respectare, try to see again the person and try to see actually in the different perspective. So on summary, we had what does spiritual vision mean? To see all living entities as hosts of God. That's also interesting concept, that we are hosting God inside of our heart. And to see the essence of everyone, everybody around us, but not the covering, or see the essence more than the covering. We don't neglect the covering, still some distinction needs to be there, but we want to see people on the level of equality. We had the benefits of transforming our vision, developing respect toward all living entities. All the bad tendencies are destroyed, avoiding so many difficulties based on bodily designations, make an end to quarrel and judgmental views, friend and enemy vision, feeling love for all living entities, and feeling blissful because we are actually conscious of the Lord. And then the third, how to develop a spiritual vision, we had make some effort to meditate and reflect about it, set time to practice bhakti yoga, chanting, reading and association, best on a daily basis, and becoming expert in those practice, and then for sure we'll become a sage and we'll have this vision very, very naturally. In our stage we might have to make a little bit effort to transform our vision, but when we can do it and when we try to do it, the effect is really remarkable, is really very, very beautiful. So, any questions? And here there is a little humor in those two funny guys. You can see God in their hearts. Okay. Yes?
You have said that we should see God, and it is like theory, it is very easy. But when you go at work, or the challenges to be experienced, maybe.
I think here there is, yeah.
You can hear me, I think. The challenges which we experience at workplace or in our friend circle, or sometimes where you have this envy or you have this rivalry, how one can subsidize that and can get rid of it. What you will suggest, especially at workplace where you have those rivalries?
That's sometimes tough, because sometimes we have colleagues that are really difficult to get along, and you have every day to be with them. And yeah. Thank you. That's actually a very relevant question. You can try to see again and look again and see the equality of the person, but when you have to be with them and you get also maybe negative energy from them on regular basis, then it's actually much more difficult to deal with that. I see you have your hands up, and that I know you have many good answers, but I want, please give me some time to reflect that I can give an answer. I mean, you could approach it from different level. This what we hear today is approach it from a spiritual level, but from a spiritual level of vision. But you can also sometimes ask yourself the question: what I'm supposed to learn? What I'm supposed to learn in this circumstance? Why such a things happen to me in my life in such a way that maybe actually the Lord is willing to teach me something out of those situations, and maybe I have something to learn about that. So this is like another way. It's still actually very Krishna conscious way of seeing, but to see, okay, that there is maybe no chance into this situation that is happening, and how actually, what can I take out of it for my own spiritual development? That could be a vision. And another, I mean, if it's really negative and impacting your life in a very negative way, and it's staying and continue like this, one can also reflect if maybe it will make sense to maybe a change. Maybe one can change the department and be with someone else, or one can maybe also find maybe a different job that will not give us such a difficult vibration on ourselves from other people and like this. But it can also be from family members. It cannot be only in work or like this. So these are some thoughts on that. Is that answering the question?
Thanks. Yeah, it is. But yeah, maybe we can discuss later. I don't want to take all the time, because this is, yeah, it. As a childhood, we grew up listening Gita, we grew up listening Mahabharata, and where Krishna also, like on the Kurukshetra, he says, and he did certain deeds so that Pandavas can win. So those challenges comes up when we see everyone as being, and his vision and his body. Can we do so deeds because that can hurt other person, or can hurt the deeds of other person are hurting the department or the company? It becomes challenging to see, for me, Krishna in them or God in them.
Yeah.
So how to break that? That is sometimes challenging.
Yeah. Maybe we can discuss after together, and maybe we can see if some other questions are there. Thank you. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. You shared this experience how you read a passage in one of the books, and then you had this vision how God is, Krishna is present in every living entity. And you said that this lasted for maybe 15 minutes or something. So I'm just wondering, what is the barrier, and how do we overcome the barrier between reading and hearing? Now we're hearing so many nice things, but how do we actually make this sink into our consciousness and last also?
Yeah. It's actually very much connected to repetition. To as more as you repeat something, as more as actually it becomes deeper and deeper inside of yourself. And I can maybe warn you that after this lecture you might see God in the heart of other people around you, because you have heard that the whole lecture. So maybe something might stick, and you might actually get a little glimpse of that vision, and you might just be smiling without external reasons, but inside you might. So it's actually in everything that we study or that we read, if actually as more as we repeat it and go deeper into the contemplation or reflection on that particular things that you are reading, as deeper as it come in, Now, in this particular instance, there was definitely some blessings. That suddenly, for this amount of time, the experience was not stopping. So that's, I think, also very much Srila Prabhupada's powerful blessings behind his own books, that I could have this particular experience. But in general, as much as you will keep your consciousness focused and meditating on a particular point of the philosophy, as more as actually it will be living inside of you. It's connected. If you just read it and forget it, that will not affect much. But if you hear and remember, and remember again, it's actually going to go deeper and deeper and deeper. I personally myself work into trying to remember more. So I'm learning every morning. I'm trying to learn a verse, and then during the day I try to remember this verse, and it's actually very much helping also to develop this vision, because it goes deep inside of you, and then you see differently because it's part of you. But you need some repetition and learning by heart, and then it really go deeper. Thank you. So I do not see any other questions. Yes, probably.
Thank you, Prabhu. I'm just wondering, so spiritual vision, we try to see everyone equal and also in the essence, but still we are also individual. So, and just wondering, when we have this equal vision, how do we still treat everyone individually and see their individual aspect and their qualities and help them in this way?
Yeah, thank you. Therefore, actually, I was trying to speak on that by saying we will not embrace a tiger, and we need also to see difference between student and teacher. So actually, both needs to be there. But often we only see the difference, but we don't see the unity between all living entities, that we are actually all parts of God. But we still need to make differences. Like if a mother has two children, one of 5 years old and one of 12 years old, she cannot give both of them the same school book. She cannot see them equal. Okay, she will need to make a difference. Okay, this one is older, he needs this school book. So in general, we will need to still see some difference between the living entities, and because we have to live in this world. But at the same time, we don't want to forget the uniting factor of all living entities being parts of God. So it's something we need to combine. It's not just one or the other, but usually we see only into the differences and into the external forms. But we want the aim of this lecture is try to see to balance a little bit more by seeing actually the presence of God in the heart of everyone, and thus develop the good qualities and respect and like this. Thank you. Good question. Is it okay? Is it answering? Yeah. Good. Yes.
Just related to the Prabhu first question,
Uh-huh.
I would like to ask something that in the past we had maybe not just me but others also this experience that we have enemies, and we have sometimes even fight with other people. But by time when we look back, then we often see only love and compassion and see everything in a different way. So what's happening? Why we have this experience?
So the question is, was it a comment or?
No. What is happening? There's a situation. We feel hate. We feel bad feelings, and by time when we look back, we don't see these bad things anymore. We feel compassion. We feel forgiveness. These kind of things.
Yeah.
So what is happening? Because only time is the between us.
I mean, it might happen to you, but to some it might not. Some might not be able actually to forgive their whole life. And as long as one do not forgive, he will not be able to see the person again in a normal way. So it's actually one need to come to the step of forgiving, and then it takes time. Forgiving is often like very much on the intellectual level. I had myself a situation where I thought, I forgive this devotee, I was very hurt, or this person, but I will stay as far as possible. And if I see this person, I forgive, but and I noticed it was I forgave only mentally, but my heart had not forgiven, and it came to a situation when I had to be close to that person, and I was ready to run away, and then I thought, no, now I will really forgive from my heart, and I just stayed in the situation and remained calm, and then I noticed I was actually able. I had some circumstance in my life when I felt so hurt that I felt I will never. The situation is broken forever. I will never be able to bring it back. But I noticed from the time I was able to forgive, then after sometimes it was back to normal. So this ability to really pass over means that you are able to forgive the person, and then after sometimes it's. But some are not able. Some their whole life they will see this person on this level of enemy, and will cramp on it. So it's individual. But when you can do that, that means you are able to forgive. Is that okay?
Yes. Just this example came to my mind that sometimes people who take part of war, for example, they see terrible things, really terrible things. But by time when they come together after 30, 40, 50 years, they speak in the way that, oh, it was a good time, we were together. Yeah, it was such a great things. So something happening, which is related. So for me, the explanation is that soul cannot hold bad things forever. Something like that.
Okay. Okay. I will need to think more about that. But thank you for bringing the thought. The soul is definitely, in one sense, aloof from body and mind. Is like a different category. The soul is full of ananda, full of bliss, full of knowledge, full of eternity. The body and mind is the other way around. It's material, temporary, and so definitely the soul by nature do not have much to do with all the things happening in this world. So in that sense, it makes some sense. Thank you. Okay, so I hope something was relevant. I hope you can take something with you, and I hope you will sometimes experience the happiness of seeing God in the heart of all of people around you. It's very blissful. You will surely smile when you do that, and wish you a wonderful time. Thank you for giving me the opportunity, and Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Thank you very much, Gaura Hari Prabhu, for giving a very nice presentation on spiritual vision, and we hope to see you back again in some months again here in Zurich. Just for you, so now it's our vegetarian feast. Since it is a good weather, the prasadam, the feast is not served inside but outside in the garden. So don't wonder why there is not something in the upstairs. It's there, but it's outside. Thank you very much.
Yeah. It will be nice. Hare Krishna.